I'm so excited we're doing this show. It's called The Car Department here in Southern California in KHTS 1220 AM. He's the star of the show. Look, I'm just here helping him out. His name is Dave Cantin. Dave Cantin. And as a disclaimer, he's a friend. As a disclaimer, he was one of the largest owner of a car dealership, a Hyundai dealership in New Jersey. And he flew out on an airplane today to be with me. So I'm so honored. We're covering the subject today about buying cars, how to buy a car. Because I am really, I think the average or below average person, a lot of anxiety going on a car. My wife and daughters, I got 3 daughters and a wife, would never go on a car. I had to buy all the cars. Never. Because we're not trained. We're nervous. There's anxiety. Can I tell you a little story? Because I'm curious about the price. I'm curious about something happened to me. So this is years ago. I like yellow, wear a lot of yellow. This goes back maybe 30 years ago. And I went into a Ford dealership in Ventura, Barber Ford, and I couldn't find exactly the car that I wanted. And the sales guy, we got to know each other. I went back like 2 or 3 times to my credit, I think. And I said to him one day, I said, look, I don't have that much money. Do you have a car that nobody else wants? And he looked at me and he says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, maybe a color, I don't know, maybe a model. And he says, I love this car. And he starts telling me the story. It's got what was those phony, not phony, but make-believe tops. What were they called on the car?
You're talking about those canvas tops.
It was a black canvas top. And here I am, an uneducated buyer, not realizing a month after I buy the canvas top, it's not black anymore. The weather gets on it, and that's why they didn't sell that well. But I didn't know that. And then
they probably could have sold you a weather treatment.
Well, he didn't think about it, and I didn't.
Shame on them.
So then, my palms are itching, which means I'm coming into money. And then he says to me, well, it's yellow. And as soon as he said that, I said, yellow, that's one of my favorite colors. Yellow, let me see the car. So we have to walk in the back. It's all dirty and dusty. No, the little tears are running down the hood. I mean, the car was so freaking lonely.
And you had the biggest smile on your face.
Oh, my God. And he said, you know what, Coach? He said, I like you. I'm going to discount this car. He says, I'm going to take $3,000 off the price. See, my palms are itching. That means we're both coming into money. Double itch here.
Let's go.
So he took $3,000 off the price. I drove the car. I was happy as can be. It was an LTD. You're too young to remember. It was a Ford LTD. And then sure enough, that black canvas cover became gray, and the pigeons would, never mind.
Coach, I want to touch on something that you said earlier. I think the biggest anxiety for today's car buyer is when they initially pull up to the car dealership.
Absolutely. I get out of the car, and the guy starts walking towards me, and all of a sudden I'm going, oh, no. Really?
The best thing you could do is just pull out of your pocket a piece of paper. And you know what that piece of paper is? Your negotiated deal that's already completed because you're an educated car buyer. Here's my advice to everybody out there. Do your research. The digital platform, the digital marketing out there today that dealerships are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in, utilize it to your potential. You will receive hours off your time of buying cars. You will receive thousands back in your pocket. Let's talk about it. Let's touch on that a little bit. Once you know the car you're buying, as I said earlier, utilize the resources, email the dealer, get involved on the phone with one of their internet sales representatives, negotiate the entire deal before you get there. This way, when you pull up to the car dealership, you could pull that piece of paper out of your pocket and say to the 5, 10, 15 car salesmen that are, staring at you, which, at the end of the day shouldn't be, but if it is, you could say, I have my deal worked out already. And if the dealership...
You use the word negotiate like we all know how to negotiate, so that's why it'll be out in a month or so, but you're creating this whole process for the consumer, which is great. You're going to help consumers do a better job of buying cars, and you're also going to help the car dealers sell more cars. So thank you for doing that. What's your name? Dave Cantin?
Well, I think you know it pretty well now, Coach.
Dave Cantin.
An advocate for the consumer, but a resource for the dealer. My job is to help streamline the car buying experience.
Help us negotiate better. Help us. That's why I'm doing this show with you. All right, so...
think about it like this, Coach.
I pulled the paper out of the car. I've already done my research. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
The guy says, here's the price. Here's my final price. What do I say? Here's the final price, Coach. What do you want me to do at that point?
Well, it depends. You've done your research. If you listen to me, you've done your research and you know the final price. All the information that you could ask for today is out there. Now, I will say this. As I just stated, I'm an advocate for the consumer, but a resource for the dealer. I believe, as an ex-dealer, a dealer is entitled to make a profit. You cannot expect a dealer to give a car away and not make any money, or else, let's face it, they wouldn't be in business. What's most important is that the dealership believes in two things: transparency and credibility. That will involve a great experience at the end of the transaction. The dealership is entitled to make a profit, and by you doing your research, by going on the internet, by researching the car, researching 3 or 4 different local dealers via internet, or if you're not one of those people that like using your laptops, your iPhones, call 3 or 4 dealers and say, hey, look, I want to come in there and buy a car, but I would like to do it over the phone. Get your best price. And I'll tell you what, I cannot tell you how many times I had a customer come into my showroom and pay me $100, $200, even up to $500 more for the same car for the experience. And experience builds value and pays for money.
All right, listening to really true car experts, because maybe, just maybe, over the years, he's sold more cars than anybody else in the country. His name is Dave Cantin. On the show, we call the car department. So, on this final price, come on, be open with our listeners. How many times has the dealer said, this is it, I can't go anymore?
It happens every day, Coach. I mean, as I just said,
is that the truth? They can't go another $500? Well,
it depends. I mean, if they own the car for $10,000 and you're offering them $9,500 and they told you their best price is $10,200 because they want to make a few $100s, that's going to be their best price. You have to understand, that it's not just a back and forth game. A dealership's entitled profit. A consumer's entitled to good experience. My job and my goal is to streamline this process to where the dealership is entitled to make a profit and the consumer could walk in there with the confidence, which is key, the confidence to know that they're getting a good deal.
If I had a little book, and I know you're in the process of writing one, if I had a little 10-step book, which is I'm going to help you do, and buying a car and a home, those are the 2 biggest purchases we're ever going to make. We need to take it seriously. Question. The manufacturer's guarantee, or what do you call it when we were talking about lunch?
The warranty on a car.
The warranty, how important is that? Do customers or does the buying public even bring that up? Is that part of what you said earlier when you were talking about the 3 tips? Is that part of the value?
I look at a manufactured warranty extremely important, and it's sad because most consumers don't look at it today.
I don't even know where mine is.
When I talk about value, and I can't believe that, when I talk about value, I'm talking about the length of ownership as well. You really have to understand when's the best time to trade in your car, when is the best time, how long the lifespan of that car is before you have to start putting money into the car. Part of researching on my step 1 of my process is understanding how many miles you put on your car annually, what type of driving that you do on a consistent basis, and when are you going to expect to have to start taking money out of your pocket to maintain and service your car. A manufacturer warranty that goes for a longer period of time is great, but if you only keep your car for every 3 or 4 years, most cars today come with a 3 or 36,000 mile or a 4-year 48,000 mile powertrain warranty. So usually you're protected, but it's always good to know. I get to 50,000
miles and I for some reason I got to buy new tires. I like to every 50,000 miles or so get a new car. But is there a time? Can I shotgun some questions?
Let's go.
Okay, is there the best month? What's the best month of the year to buy a car?
It really depends on where you are. Let's talk about back home in New Jersey in the Northeast. Who wants to buy a car in January? I mean, we just had 2.5 feet of snow last week. Can you imagine on Thursday of last week? Can you imagine on Thursday of last week going to pick up your brand new shiny car, okay? And there you go Saturday morning waking up to 2.5 feet of snow on it. So there's really not a time, a day, or a month, okay? I mean, look, they used to say the last day of the month was the best day to buy a car. If you're educated and the dealership is willing to offer a great experience, every day is a good day. It depends when you need that car.
What about, the year end? Come on, year end. When do the old days, year end would be like June, right? When the new models would come out.
Well, new models typically would come out spring, summertime.
Right, now they come out all the time, right?
All the time. There's always new product. There's always launches. Sometimes they relaunch a product. There's always new models. I mean, the competition today is much greater than it's ever been.
Lease versus buy.
Great question. It all really...
Finally, I asked a good question.
Finally. I mean, it only took, I've been with you since 9/11. 9 a.m.
minutes,
So a lot more than 40 minutes.
Okay.
Bad math.
Yeah.
You need me to negotiate. You call me next time you're buying a car.
I want you. Dave Cantin, I would hire you. I think the public, if we could find a way, there's smart people listening to the show. If we could find a way to hire you to buy all our cars, we would save a lot.
You think I'd be able to wear this shirt though?
Maybe.
Okay. Let's talk lease or finance, right? So it really depends on...
Lease or buy, I said.
Well, lease or buy. So if you're going to either write a check and buy it, which we're going to talk about, or you're going to finance it, which is buy, or if you're going to lease that car. It really depends on your driving activity. I mean, if you believe in keeping a car every 5 to 10 years and you like paying that last payment and owning a car and having value at the end, then you buy the car, okay? What people don't understand is cars depreciate the most in the first 24 months of ownership, and then it levels out. I like leasing, and I'll tell you why leasing is great. Now, leasing is great for the consumers that don't drive over 15 to 18,000 miles a year. It's great to know that every 3 years you're getting into a car with a new manufacturer warranty. Hey, it's good just to always get into a new car. But what it does is it limits the amount of money you have to take out of your pocket to put down, maximizes the car that you could be driving for less of a payment. Now, again, that does put you in a position where every 3 years you have to get a new car and you're continuously paying a payment. Financing and buying a car, that's right. Cars today are built better than they've ever been built. They're long-lasting. Durability and reliability is amazing. If you're that person that likes to buy a car, pay for it, and have it for years to come, then you buy the car.
Dave Cantin is his name. The show is the Car Department, and every week we're going to delve into, we talked to some young people at lunch, and they want to know in the next couple of weeks about these driverless cars and all the digital stuff. But not today. Today we're talking about buying a car, because this guy maybe, just maybe, sold more cars than anybody in the history of car selling. So I think he knows a thing or two. So let me go back to these 3 points. Research the dealership, research, and you can do everything online. We didn't talk about it, but you said email, and you said they'll email you back. Get 3 prices through email. That's pretty clever. I like that.
I'll tell you what, Coach, we were successful off of our internet department. Dealerships have different names for them, building developing department. Customer satisfaction department is what we called it for many years. 50% of our sales were driven off the internet. 50% of our sales were driven off the internet. Today's consumer wants to make it easy. They want to make it a pleasurable experience. Everything was done when a consumer came into our dealership. Price, color, options. All they had to do was drive the car and figure out how they were going to pay for the car.
I'm amazed, because I don't see how. So then it just comes down to price. So how did you, I don't want to use the word hook a customer, but how did you convince a customer through an email to do business with you? I don't get it.
Well, you know what? It works both ways. So consumers reached out to us, okay? We were known for having a large inventory. So large inventory means, okay, greatest selection, colors, options, equipment. We wanted to be able to fulfill all customers' needs. But not your average dealer is going to have that. So I don't want to just talk about my dealership. I want to talk about all dealerships. It's great to be able to utilize today's resources, which is the digital platform of utilizing emails. Email your local dealership back and forth. Try to work out a majority of the deal prior to going in. The last step at that point, of course, is making sure you're comfortable in the car. But once you even go to my step 1 and you research the brand, the manufacturer, that could be way before all of this. You're just going out there test driving cars. Take a weekday evening, take a weekend morning or afternoon, go out there and spend 2-3 hours and just test drive as many cars as you can. Once you narrow it down to 1 or 2 cars is when I suggest emailing those dealers and saying, I love your car. This is what I'm looking for.
So you're actually putting a sentence in the email to.
You're gonna agree. I mean, you're gonna dive in there and tell the dealership, I want to buy this car. This is what I'm looking for. I want to lease it for 36 months.
Wow.
I usually put $1,000 down. My driving habits are 15,000 miles a year. What is your best deal? And that dealership is going to email you back their best deal. And if they don't, that's not the dealership you're buying your next car from.
Got it. Now, did you put balloons on your car?
We did for many years, and then we stopped doing that once we built our new facility.
Right.
It's an attraction.
I know, but if I drive by and I see balloons on a car, I'm not buying a car from that dealership. There's something about the balloons that just bug me.
That's okay, Coach. I'm sure if we had hot dogs, you would oversee the balloons.
Hot dogs, yes. Balloons, no. Talking to Dave Cantin on the show we call the Car Department here in Southern California and KHTS. Don't forget, we have this great app. You can listen to us. We have a lot of people, thousands of people listening on their iPhone and Android right now. Go to the App Store and download the app, KHTS 1220 AM. All right, so we're talking about buying a car today, and we're talking about buying a car that not only will save you money, but maybe even make you money. And the make you money part is what? In the trade-in? I mean, is there a year or a mileage? You said it a few minutes ago. I said 50,000 miles. Is there a mileage where the value really starts to hurt the process of trading the car in?
Anytime a car expires from its manufacturer warranty, it becomes less valuable to a consumer and to a dealer. Let's face it.
What were your warranties at Hyundai?
5 years, 60,000 bumper to bumper, and a 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain
I like that, bumper
warranty.
to bumper. I like the way you say that from New Jersey, bumper to bumper. Okay, so there you go. So let's get into this warranty thing. So that was 5 years, 60,000. So okay, so 60,000. So if you got around the 50,000 in the fourth year, it's time to move.
It's time to move.
Got it. Okay. So this is. I got to go check my warranty. So I have it in my book, right?
More importantly, you should check your miles. Maybe it's time now.
No, I've only got 20,000 miles on it.
I was hoping to sell you my car before we left.
No, I can't get into your car. You've got a little sports car. I like the SUV. I like stepping up in a car. And anyway, never mind. All right. So talking about buying a car. There's no season. It doesn't make any difference anymore what month you buy a car. It doesn't make any difference what day of the week you buy any car. Is there anything that says to a customer, now's the time to buy? We used to have big sales in newspapers. You're too young. You're too young to remember.
No, you know what? When I started in the industry, it was all newspaper and then became a lot of digital and radio. Dealerships still today heavily promote around, major holidays, okay? President's Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July. There's even New Year's Eve sales. I mean, I'm going to tell you, Black Friday, great day to buy a car. All of these huge holidays surrounding the automobile industry does create a buzz, okay? And not necessarily does the dealership own the car for less that day, but there could be additional benefits that if you're going to buy a car, why not buy it on President's Day? There could be dealership internal incentives, gas cards, whatever the promotion is that they're internally giving away. It could be a wider selection because they know they're going to be busier, so they stock more inventory.
All right. We're talking to Dave Cantin on the Car Department show, but can I pull back the curtain and draw you out a little bit? So we were talking during the break that there's a process which you're going to reveal to the public in your new book called The Car Department by Dave Cantin. Is there a process where I could avoid talking to like the three middlemen and go right to the F&I guy? Am I going to save money if I just go right to the F&I person? I don't want to talk to the salesman.
Are you asking me when you enter into the dealership?
Yeah.
The finance guy's not going to pick you out a car. The finance guy's not going to drive your car.
But all these other people have to get commissions and get paid. I want to avoid...
You have to stop focusing on the commissions. When you go deposit your check at the bank, do you worry about who's getting a commission on it? No. You have to stop focusing on who's receiving the commission. It's about the experience, Coach. And if everybody there is giving you a wonderful experience, allow them to do your job. It's when the consumer fights the process.
If I got greeted with an ice cold beer, you'd have my business. I'll tell you right now.
And I'm sitting next to him. That's the truth.
Really? It's the Car Department. It's Dave Cantin. I'm the coach, Coach Ron Tuning. And all kinds of great stuff coming down the road from Dave. He's going to have a book. You can listen to our podcast if you have to go to work and you're driving back to work. Our podcast will be on KHTS website tonight after about 5:30 tonight, and our show's videoed, so you can see how handsome I am. All our shows are videoed on YouTube or put on YouTube. All right, so in the car buying process,
let me just say one thing, Coach, and I'm sure everyone's going to comment on my wonderful shirt.
On the peachy shirt.
That's it. It's beautiful. It really is.
On the peachy shirt. Convertibles, real quick. Summer's going to come down the path, and we're going to go to commercial. But I'm real curious. I don't see that many convertibles, and I love convertibles. Are convertibles going out? What's happening with convertibles?
I wouldn't say they're going out. I just think people are becoming more practical. Convertibles have become a want, not a necessity anymore. I mean, it's more of a weekend car. So if you're out there on the weekends and you're driving down to PCH, you're going to see a convertible.
Got it. Real quick before we go to break, trucks. Did Hyundai do trucks?
They have not yet.
They have not trucks. So trucks are big. Why are trucks so popular all of a sudden? Because they're not the old, we got to go to break, but I'm going to come back and talk to you about trucks for a minute. Are you okay with that?
Trucks are great.
Be right back on the show we call the Car Department on KHTS 1220 AM. Dave Cantin is his name. Write his name down. You're going to hear a lot about this guy. He's going to be on television. We're working on all kinds of great stuff, but he actually cares about you. He actually cares about helping you do a better job of buying a car, selling a car, leasing a car. In the shows to come, we're going to talk a lot about financing. We're going to talk a lot about trading the car in, how to do it. And more importantly, if we can train you to be as comfortable with going on a car lot and talking about buying, selling, leasing, financing a car, we've done a good job on the show we call the Car Department. We'll be right back. No, let it go a little bit. Let's get a little rocky going here. Yeah, let's get a little rocky going on the Car Department show. You know, there's a million shows on home buying and flipping houses, and there's tons of real estate shows. But how about a great car show? How about a car show that's really authentic, where I have somebody, you know what, that started at 18 years old selling cars, and he was so successful at it, ladies and gentlemen, he then bought into the car dealership. But he didn't buy into it. They gave him a piece of the dealership because they didn't want to leave him. Then eventually he became an equal partner in the dealership, and then eventually he owned the car dealership, and then eventually he became the #1 largest car dealer of its kind in the United States for a Hyundai, and he's right here in Southern California. His name is Dave Cantin, and every week we want to bring to you a better way for you to buy a car, save money on a car, lease a car, finance a car, everything, service a car. But we need to be educated. So, Dave, thank you very much.
Coach, I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah. Give us one more tip. There's got to be one more tip. You gave us 3 great tips. Do your research. Send 3 emails out to 3 different dealerships and understand what kind of value you're getting for the money that you're spending. But give me another tip. Come on. One more tip for our listeners in Southern California on KHTS.
If anybody's going out to buy a car this weekend, manufacturers always utilize their own captive. So if you're going to buy a Toyota, understand before you buy that car what Toyota's rebates and incentives are. I always look at the car buying experience in whole. If the manufacturer is offering a low APR or 0%, utilize it. Look for every way to give you the least payment possible. At the end of the day, we work way too hard not to save every dollar we can.
So here again, I've got to represent the listeners, Dave Cantin. We don't know about incentives or rebates or APRs. This is not our training. You know, we're trying to pay our bills and get our kids through college.
It's extremely easy, Coach, and thanks for asking. So I'm going to take over for a minute. But all you need to do is go to the manufacturer's website of the car you're looking for. You know, if it's Honda, go to honda.com. Click under incentives, rebates. Everything is public. Everything is there. There's other websites that you could utilize that are consumer friendly for buying cars. All you simply need to do is go on the internet and hit, I want to buy this make or model. It's going to give you all the information that you need. Again, utilize all the digital information you could get to buy your car. At the end of the day, remember, the dealership's entitled to profitability, but you're also entitled to a great experience.
In the weeks to come, Dave Cantin, on the show we call the Car Department, I love the title of the show, the Car Department, because you have a sports department. You know, we're hooked into sports. We're hooked into all these digital games and stuff. But, you know, we spend more money on buying a car and buying a house than anything else. Why shouldn't we learn how to do it better? So I really appreciate you taking your time. Now, can I ask a couple of quick questions?
Sure.
When you look, before I went to break, I'm interested in trucks. I want to buy a truck for somebody. I can't tell you who it is because I want to surprise her.
Is it me?
No, it's not you. But I want to buy a truck. Trucks have become like cars. I mean, look at the inside. Have you ever looked in the inside of a truck lately? They're beautiful, man.
Gorgeous. Really are. The cabin inside a truck is just like you're driving in a beautiful sports car.
Yes, and you're sitting up higher. I mean, you can see the road better. I mean, isn't there a lot of value in trucks? So do trucks have the same asset value that a car does? Is there a difference between values and trade-ins and all that stuff?
All cars are based upon a value of its own kind. So a truck holds its own value based upon, the options, the year, the make, the model. Cars are completely separate. All vehicles hold its own value. A great site for a consumer. I'm going to throw in one more tip.
One more
tip. If you're trading in a car, before you trade that car in, go to NADA.com, consumer values, put the year, make, model, mileage, and options in, and it'll tell you based upon the condition how much you should get for your trade.
Say it again.
NADA.com.
Okay.
Put in a year, make, model, mileage, condition, and it will give you a value of what you should ask for your trade.
Oh, our hour is up. We haven't even talked about auctions or service or nothing. There's so much to talk about in the car department. Will you come back? Well, you're the star of the show. Will I come back? Well, maybe I'll think about it. All right, KHTS 1220. I love the dude. Justin, thank you for producing our show today. We'll see you next week on the car department in Southern California on KHTS.
You must fight just to keep them alive. It's deep. I am the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his spread in the night. And is watching us always be.
All right, I'm the coach. The show is called He Said, She Said, but I want to talk about a company I've known for a long time called Superior.